Hello, I am Charlie Brooker, and welcome to So Wrong It's Right. This is a game in which the more of an embarrassment you are, the more chance you stand of winning. It's basically just like an Italian general election. I've always maintained you should never give up on your dreams. For instance, it was once my dream to meet Danny Minogue. I tried writing, calling, engineering countless chance meetings, until finally, after years, I got to spend one entire magical afternoon with her at Woolwich Crown Court. I'll never forget the way she slowly turned, looked me in the eye and said, "Yes, that's him." There are lots of sayings dealing with success and catastrophe. If you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two imposters just the same, chances are you've just met the Miliband's. Anyway, joining me tonight are three people who are absolutely top of my list. A list headed simply, no. But they've turned up anyway, and they are Lee Mack, Susan Calman and Daniel Meyer. I'll be asking them all a series of questions. Their aim is to answer each of them as wrongly as possible. I'll be awarding a point to whoever I think has given me the worst and therefore best answer. Round one is called Wrong Time, Wrong Place. I'll be asking my guests to delve into their dismal personal histories in an attempt to out-wrong each other with stories from their own lives. This week's theme is anger. The best thing about an angry row is the passionate make-up sex that often follows, although the traffic warden I met yesterday apparently begs to differ. What is the most ridiculous thing you've ever been angry about? And I'll start with you, Lee.
Well, this is ridiculous. I took a dog, my mate's dog, for a walk, and loads of mates are meeting in the pub, and I'm thinking, I'll take the dog to the pub, because there's something very nice in 1970s about that. Like, I thought I'll have a pint, and I might even have a game of dominoes and go home and do a bit of domestic violence. The whole 70s thing, right?
You make it sound so cosy.
So I go to the pub, and I get told I'm not allowed in the pub with the dog. There's no dogs allowed, except for guide dogs. So I go home. That's not what you think I'm going to do. So I go home, get the dark glasses. No, I go home, right, and I'm a bit annoyed by this, because they're having this afternoon drinking session that I can't then get in the pub. So I'm annoyed, and literally by coincidence, 3 hours later, my wife tells me this story out of the paper, a cute little story, about a blind man who has a guide dog. Unfortunately, the guide dog has gone blind. And so the guy, he just can't let go of this guide dog. He's just so bonded with his guide dog that he keeps the dog that's blind and gets a new guide dog to lead him and the guide dog, you see. Oh. So you've now got a guide dog leading a blind guide dog who's leading the man, right? He said, "It's great now, I've got my new dog. It means we're not stuck in the house anymore. We can now go out and do things like go to the park and," I quote, "go to the pub." And I thought, oh, hang on. You can go to the pub and the new dog can go to the pub because he's a guide dog. Where does this other dog fit in? He can't go to the pub, can he? Because he's just a dog now. Like my dog. And I wasn't allowed in the pub. And I'm still livid, and I said that to my wife. Why is he allowed in with his dog? Because the dog isn't a guide dog anymore. He's just a dog. And my wife said, "I think you'll find that's a little bit intolerant."
Did you mean a guide cat? Yeah. A guide cat? A guide cat for a guide.
No, you can't have a guide cat, because then you'd end up jumping on walls and stuff, wouldn't you?
No, and a guide cat, just for being purely bad about things, as cats are, would take you somewhere horrific instead.
That would make every day an adventure.
It would.
If you had a guide cat, I might get a guide cat anyway, and just close my eyes and see where it takes me. That would be an amazing way to live your life.
But people look at you quite strangely, because I've got 3 cats, house cats, and I thought I'll take them out. Not in a pram, because that's for when I'm older. And I've got a harness. Now, Muppet's quite a big cat, so I've got a small dog harness for Muppet.
Is Muppet the cat, the name of the cat?
Muppet's the cat.
Oh, I thought you meant it wasn't real.
No.
I thought, are you all right? I'm very well, thank you very much.
Well, they do talk to me. And so I got a harness for Muppet, and I went out in Glasgow with a cat on essentially a lead, just to give him a bit of exercise, because he was getting a bit chunky. And I realised really quite quickly that people call the police because they think you're some kind of strange person with a cat. Now, I think
to be fair, you are.
Yeah. I think in retrospect, if I wasn't wearing pyjamas, everything would have been better.
Anyway, so Lee is enraged by blameless hounds.
Yes.
Susan, what's the most ridiculous thing you've ever been enraged by?
Enraged. Well, I get enraged quite a lot because I require order in my life. I hate surprises and spontaneity, and I require everything to be...
She's right.
That was really quite funny.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine. No. So, I require order. I like to know what's happening in my life. And one of the things that obsesses me is hotels. I love staying in hotels, but hotel breakfasts obsess. And I like to plan what I'm having for my breakfast in a hotel, especially if it's a buffet type situation, because that's just brilliant, right? And so I was staying in a hotel and I'd researched the breakfast, I thought, pretty well. I'd found photographs on TripAdvisor. I'd found out where everything is because, well, the thing is, if you've got a buffet situation, you have to be quite careful with those bad boys. You've got to stack the plates properly. So, items on the bottom that don't absorb liquid. So, sausages, bacon on the bottom, and you layer it all the way up to the beans, which are the triumphant kind of garnish on the top.
You're like a breakfast engineer.
So, I was looking forward to it. I'd set my alarm for the very beginning of the breakfast service, because that's when it's freshest, as we all know. 7 o'clock in the morning, I was down in the breakfast area of this particular hotel. Now!
Oh, don't you do it?
Unbeknownst to me, I was staying in a budget version of the hotel chain, which did not have a buffet. It merely had some scrambled eggs and sausages in some form of plastic tub. Now, at that point, I went Michael Douglas in Falling Down. I lost it because I'd been looking forward for 3 days to doing the buffet the way I thought the buffet had to be done. I threw the tray down and went, "This is not what I was expecting." And I left. I just left.
Wait, so you didn't even eat the bread? You ate nothing?
No, because it wasn't what I wanted. If I'm going somewhere, I'll look it up to see on Google Earth to see what it looks like. I plan everything.
You can't see the breakfast on Google Earth.
I think hotel breakfasts, they can be quite infuriating. Though there is something that always infuriates me about hotel breakfast, which is the glasses that the juice comes in. You know, you've got a scale of glasses, starting at beer glass, pint glass, half pint glass, tumbler, shot glass, and then at that far end of the scale is hotel juice glass, which is so small it can't actually be seen by the naked eye.
Yeah, what is that?
And yet the weird thing is, it's unlimited juice. So all they're doing is being a pain, aren't they? Because you just keep constantly getting up for the juice.
But this is the point. This is back to my point. It is all you can eat technically, but the stares from the staff, if you genuinely do eat all you can eat, can become slightly wearing. Which is why on the first trip you have to get everything you can eat on the one plate. Which is why the stacking is important, so that you don't have to go back. So you've got your big stack.
Do you think possibly that's why they're stirring?
Yeah. So, Daniel, what's the most ridiculous thing you've ever been angry about?
My own answer phone on my landline at home. If you call me, I'm not in, you're going to hear my outgoing greeting message. Then there is a gap for your message. I realise I'm now explaining to you how an answer phone works, which some of you maybe already know. You might have encountered them before.
So I didn't follow it. Can you run through it again?
And I don't know if anybody else has this on their machines, or it's just a weird thing that I've got on mine. An automated thank you. When the person has left their message, a woman's voice says, "Thank you for calling." Exactly like that. But the problem I have with this is that automated thank you message is triggered by the caller hanging up. Thereby rendering it completely pointless. They're never going to hear it. Somebody hangs up and then a woman says, "Thank you for calling," to an empty house. Thank them when they're still on the line.
How can you thank them for calling when they're still on the line? Because they might not have finished talking.
Don't
You can't say,
call.
and then that's when John said, "Thank you for calling." You haven't finished the anecdote yet, you little...
Given the length of my mum's messages, I think that would be quite a good feature.
I hate the
No
one
one would
that
ever know about
tells
that
you
one.
what time the call happened. Because no one in the history of mankind has ever got that phone. set to the right time.
No.
Yeah.
Call today, Thursday, 2003, at 72 or something weird, and you think, well, that doesn't help me, does
Could
it?
you set it to an interesting date? So it just said, Lee rang during the Renaissance. So to sum up, Lee Mack, you're saying you got enraged by a guide dog. Susan Calman, you were infuriated by a substandard hotel breakfast.
No, she was infuriated by a lie.
Yes, that's it. It
a
wasn't
lie.
the breakfast, it was
See,
the
we're bonding
defeat.
now. I'll take this.
And Mr. Daniel Meyer, it was your pointless answer phone farewell. I'm going to give you the point, Daniel.
Thanks very much.
Because I think that is outrageously pointless. We will move on. We will move on to the next round, which is called Do Your Worst. This is a test of my guests' capacity for creative wrongdoing. This week, we're going to be contemplating concept albums. For our younger listeners, here's a mind-blowing concept for an album. Why don't you try paying for an album? A good concept album, of course, tells a story. David Bowie's Ziggy Stardust tells the story of a fictional rock star. The Who's Tommy tells the story of a fictional pinball wizard. And James Blunt's entire catalogue tells the story of a fictional talent. What I'm asking you to pitch me, I'm asking you guys, asking you to pitch me the worst possible idea for a concept album. Susan Calman, we will begin with you.
Okay. So, this is quite a personal one, but I think the best concept albums really can come from, what...
Is it about breakfasts?
No, it's about cats. So...
Cats has been done. There's a whole musical about cats.
There's a twist. So, as we all know, one of the funniest things in the world that you can see is funny videos of cats on YouTube. It's hilarious. And I often sit in my pants with the 3 cats around me, watching videos of cats, and I look at them and go...
You are painting a picture of yourself that's Hieronymus Bosch levels of deviance and what the...
And I'll say, hey, Pickle, why can't you do something funny? Anyway, so...
Do you hear the cat answering you back in your mind?
Yes, I do. They've got voices. And they've each got songs. They've all got their own songs. So when they come into the room, you have to sing the song.
Obviously. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So-
What are the songs?
Pickles, no one wants to hear that.
Oh, you don't know how much we do.
Ickle Dickle Pickle is a booger. She's my Ickle Pickle Booger Bear. If I put my pickle in a hanky, then my Ickle Pickle Pickle won't be there. Aye. So... Anyway, my dream, I've had them for many years, my cats. My dream is to train the cats to be a group of acrobatic cats called the Catrabats. As a concept album, it would be like the struggle of one woman to train her cats to do acrobatics to eventually go to London 2012. So it would be it's a journey finishing at the Olympics, where tragically the gymnastics teams have been injured or whatever, I don't know. And they go, gosh, is there someone here that can help? And I walk in with the cats and say, it's okay. The Catrabats.
It's the heartwarming tale of a woman who ends up being sectioned, is what you're saying.
Yeah, so that's it.
So it sounds like you've written songs already for the cats that you perform for the benefit of your cats.
What's the other one called? Muppet?
Muppet and Pickle and Oscar.
Right.
And they've got middle names as well, so.
What,
Of course. But when they've got surnames, that means.
Oscar Liberace Calman. Muppet Dollop Calman. Pickle Kylie Calman. Does nobody... God.
No, nobody does.
It is why the internet is my only friend.
So what about these 3 cats? That is there must be serial killers who'd break into your house and run away terrified. So that's your cat concept album. Okay,
Yep.
well, Daniel.
My concept album is called Keep Calm and concept album on, on which the title of each track is a progressively more annoying and lazy adaptation of the phrase keep calm and carry on, until by the time you get to the end of the album, you're so furious that even if you see that font, you'd actually tear off your own face in fury. That's basically the idea.
That's not a bad... I mean, because I do find that poster, it does the opposite of keeping me calm. I've seen it so often, it makes me want to just punch the world and keep punching. There's even an app. There's even an app that lets people customise the keep calm and carry on poster. So they can go, keep calm and carry on being Dave! Or whatever. It just makes you want... It just makes you think, you know, we have peaked as a species, and what are we doing? We're just filling time before the inevitable apocalypse with this meaningless blither.
I was trying to think...
We disgust me!
I looked on eBay, there's merchandise. You can get a bit of merchandise. A key fob, which says, keep calm and listen to Ed Sheeran. Now, I'd say those two things are incompatible.
Yeah, absolutely impossible.
And there's another one on eBay that I spotted, which is merchandise for Range Rover drivers. Very clever sort of adaptation of the phrase. I don't know if you can sort of guess what that one might be. Keep calm and Range Rover on.
Oh.
It doesn't mean anything!
Keep calm and snowboard on. Keep calm and Civil War recreate on.
Keep calm and murder on. I feel I should move on. Lee, what's
The basic problem with your concept album is that they are traditionally too complicated. And I think it's time to just keep it simple, to be a bit more honest. So my concept album is Tommy, the deaf, dumb and blind kid who's terrible at pinball. That's it. He's just not very good at it. Because, obviously, you know, because he's...
The thing about Tommy, how it's supposed to be so impressive that he's so good at pinball when he's deaf, dumb and blind. Well, the blind bit, yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
The deaf and dumb, not so much. I don't think that's a great hindrance. Being deaf isn't a great hindrance to playing pinball. Really.
Yeah,
but you haven't said that.
How are you
going to explain to him what a pinball machine is?
Show him.
You can't.
He's blind.
He's blind. You can't.
Yeah.
You can put him near. I tell you what. If he had no fingers as well, that would be truly astonishing. If he was just hitting it with.
Do you think that's
limbs.
what we should be doing then? Thinking about how we can get it to be more traumatic for the kid. That deaf, dumb and blind kid without any fingers. We had to wheel him everywhere on his casters, and he didn't have a head. Sure played a mean pinball.
He could smell it.
Yeah.
Yes, he smell it. So to recap, Susan, you've got some kind of cockamamie scheme involving 3 cats and the Olympics. Frankly, didn't make sense. Daniel, a concept album based around the Keep Calm brand. Even saying that is like spitting out some barbed wire. And Lee, you want a brutally honest assessment of Tommy's pinball skills. You know what? I'm going to give the point to Daniel because I too am enraged by the Keep Calm phenomenon. Now, this round is called This Putrid Modern Hell, and it's devoted to the biggest wrongs from the modern world. I'll be asking each of my guests to nominate the thing they hate most about modern life, and my favourite answer wins a point. Modern science is amazing. I was planning to visit the Large Hadron Collider in Geneva, but then I thought, why not wait until it sucks me and the entire universe into a gaping hole in space-time and save on the airfare?
That's exactly the same about me wanting to sleep with Katie Price.
Daniel Meyer, Mr. Daniel Meyer, what annoys you most about the modern world?
Enigmatic Facebook status updates. Now, I think for whatever the faults, the rights and wrongs of Facebook are, if you're going to use it and you're going to use the status updates, just say what you're doing or what's happened in a clear and simple way that can be understood in a moment by your friends. Don't do these cryptic, enigmatic status updates which say things like, can't believe it's happened again. These things that oblige you to ask. I find that really, really irritating.
That is...
People do that all the time.
Do they
just tell me what's happened.
Do they ever say things like, I see it's flared up again?
There's another good subcategory of these sort of cryptic status updates, which is anniversaries, where people will put something like 5 years today. Right, and the only way you know if it's an anniversary of a good thing or a bad thing is if they've put a smiley after it or a frowny. Because if they haven't, you don't know what to do. You might go, hey, congratulations, and it turns out it's the 5th anniversary of their grandparents dying in a coach crash or something like that. It's like going up to somebody at a party and saying, amazing news, and then walking off and waiting by the door.
Women use it in a particularly passive-aggressive way that I enjoyed. They sit at home and they'll say things like, Jenny has never felt so alone. And you have to go and you have to say, are you okay? And you're like, I'm fine, I was just watching Cagney and Lacey, I'm all right, actually.
You're right, there's definitely a difference between the way men and women approach that thing, though. If somebody says, can't believe it's happened again, there'll be comments from the female friends underneath saying, you're right, babe, call me, XXX. Hope everything's okay, XXX. Women will do that, men will just sort of tentatively go, like? That's as interested as they're going to get.
Susan, I have to ask, do your cats have Facebook accounts?
No, they don't have thumbs.
Oh, that would
they
be
can't
mental.
type. There's only a certain amount that they're permitted to do. They're still young.
I didn't realise there was a whole layer of logic behind that decision. OK, so, Lee, what annoys you about the modern world?
It's 3 for 2 at the supermarket.
That's a good thing, isn't it?
No, you idiot. That's what they want us to think.
For the ruse.
It's not a good thing, is it? It's a terrible thing because you have to buy 3 times as many things as you want. Because something that used to cost £1 is now £1.50. They've put the price up of the original item. So you buy 3 of them and it'll still cost you £3. So you're not getting 3 for 2. You're getting them at the same price, but now you're having to buy 3. And I've got no room because I've got a big shopping trolley full of stuff. I've got 3 kids. Well, that's another thing. I only wanted one of them as well, but that's another story. And I'm pushing the trolley round. And he's just a con. What you're getting, and said, we're earning far too much money. I think it's time to give something back.
I don't believe that they've put up the price of
That's
the first...
because you're not thinking it through, Charlie.
They're not allowed to do that. There are
What do you mean they're not allowed to do it?
They're not allowed to.
It's very simple. No, the rules about putting things to change... You can change the price of anything.
Do they really do? Am I really stupid?
Of course
really
they
put
do.
the price up? Do they?
I think they're on.
Well, there's one way to
can't-
find out, Charlie. A very easy way to find out. Since they started doing it, have Tesco's profits gone down 1/3?
Good point. And all the other supermarkets we have. Susan, what annoys you about
Touching.
the modern world? What?
And you have to go and you have to say, are you okay? And you're like, I'm fine, I was just watching Cagney and Lacey, I'm all right, actually.
You're right, there's definitely a difference between the way men and women approach that thing, though. If somebody says, can't believe it's happened again...
Personal contact of a touching nature. I like a firm handshake when I greet someone of any relation or friendship status.
Or whether they're feline?
Yeah, well, let me stroke of the back. Even when it comes to someone who I am in a bed relationship with, there is very clear parameters regarding the time and the place for contact. And what I...
You shake hands in the bedroom. Because that's the sickest thing I've ever heard in a bedroom. For somehow, that's the sickest thing. It's formal. You have to bow and shake hands, tug your forelock.
What I don't enjoy...
I think that's fair. You've got to be polite, haven't you? You've got to sort of introduce. You've got to tell each other your names.
Yeah.
Money's got to be discussed.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of things that you've got to get through.
What I don't like is the thing about modern society. We're all meant to like kiss and hug each other, and I don't like touching anyone for 2 reasons. Number one, as we all know, Locard's principle, every contact leaves a trace. My DNA is on your DNA. Something happens to you, you get murdered, I'm in the dock. That's not where I want to be.
This Taggart just walked in.
2, being this height, if I hug a woman, it looks bad. It looks like I am...
Breastfeeding.
Suckling.
Suckling. And And I don't like it looking like I'm suckling a woman. And 3, I just think it's polite to just shake hands and do it. A man approached me the other day. I didn't know him, wasn't a stranger, a man that I knew, and he came towards me and he was going to kiss me. And I tried to, like the Matrix, I tried to evade the kiss. He was trying to catch me, and he ended up sucking the end of my nose. So I think the modern obsession with, hello, just shake someone's hand, get yourself a firm handshake, use that handshake in every possible opportunity. If you're on the bus, if you're at the supermarket, when you're buying stuff, shake the hand of the cashier, it's nice. But don't do any more.
Well, hang on, I've never been tempted to do any more at the supermarket checkout. It's not like you go... that's not a good place to do any more.
There's a wonderful checkout girl at my local supermarket, and I play a game called Try and Touch the Checkout Girl, actually. It's just with her.
Hang on, you
When you're on the self-service checkout, so you try and touch yourself without you noticing. That would be quite...
We all do that. Unexpected item in bagging area. I think the most reasonable objection is Daniel. Cryptic Facebook status updates are annoying. It's a point to you, Daniel. And so into the final round, in which I will be asking my guests a series of quick-fire questions. As always, the wrongest answer to each one wins a point. What is the worst idea for a sitcom?
Well, I've got one. It's not very tasteful. I'll just give you the title. You Ain't Half Hot, Mum.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah,
Daniel, have you got
Yeah, Not Coming Out. Lee Mack and Tim Vine refuse to acknowledge their true feelings for each other.
Any advance on that?
There's another one, which is Only Horses. Which is basically... it's just horses.
Well, if there's no advance on horses, I'm going to give Daniel a point for horses. What is the worst way to describe yourself on a dating site?
Good sense of murder. Humour!
Not on any UK registers.
Sinister. What about Michael Gove seeks similar? Would be quite bad.
I think if you just had someone and you were on a dating site and they just said clean.
I'm going to give the point to Susan. Oh, well, that noise means we've reached the end of the show, which means that Daniel Meyer is officially worse than Susan Calman and Lee Mack. Congratulations, Daniel. And that's us done. Thanks to all my guests and to you. Goodbye.